Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Kulbhushan Chandel from Himachal Pradesh University Shimla. Today we are going to talk on module Intergroup and Third Party Peacemaking Intervention from paper Organizational Change and Development. Let me know that what we are going to learn from this module. We will study the main intergroup team building interventions. We will be understanding the third party peacemaking interventions. We will discuss Walton's approach to third party peacemaking. We will study the main strategies for handling different conflicts, and finally we will be studying the intergroup building. When tension, conflict, or competition exists among the groups, then some predictable things can happen. Each group may see the other as an enemy rather than a neutral object. Each group may see the other as an enemy rather than a neutral object. Each group describes the other as a negative stereotype. The interaction and communication among the two groups decrease, which cut off the feedback and the data input among them. Each group begins to price itself and its products more positively and to degrade the other group and its products. Each group believes and acts as they can do nothing wrong and the other group can do nothing right. Under these circumstances, the groups may commit acts of various kinds against the other groups. This may lead to conflict among the two groups. Most people are aware of the pattern of the behavior of the groups in conflict, but few people know the way to eliminate and to get over that conflict and to avoid its consequences. There are various strategies available for the reduction of intergroup conflicts. It includes a common enemy. Common enemy means involvement of an outside object or group that both groups dislike, and this may lead to bringing of both the groups together. It also includes the increased interaction and communication among the groups will lead to positive sentiments and positive feelings. The strategy of finding a superordinate goal is also a significant strategy to remove conflict. The superordinate goals are the one that both groups desire to achieve, but neither can achieve without the help of other group. Rotation of the members of the groups and providing them some forms of training are also a form of strategy used for reduction of intergroup conflicts among the groups. Even by using the above mentioned strategies, the intergroup conflicts may not be solved. Even the dynamics of conflicts and its resolution between two persons in organizations are similar in between group conflicts. The interventions of the conflict resolutions are important and they have serious impact on intergroup and interpersonal conflicts, on team and organizational functioning, and also on human satisfaction. Intergroup team building interventions. The main aim of the team building group of organizational development interventions is on improving the intergroup relations. The main goals of these activities are as under: to increase communication and interaction between work-related groups, to reduce the amount of dysfunctional competition, to replace the parochial independent point of view with an awareness of the necessity for independence of action, calling for the best efforts of both groups. The significant amount of the dysfunctional energy is spent in communication, misunderstanding, miscommunication, and misperception is not uncommon between groups. Organizational reward structures often encourage the behavior through emphasis on unit goal attainment as contrasted with the total organizational goal achievements. Organizational development methods provide the manners of increasing the intergroup cooperation and communication. Steps of intergroup team building interventions. It includes identify the issue, then convene the group, provide group training, address the issue, dissolve the group, and follow up action. There is one set of activities which was given by Blake, Shepard, and Mountain, which is widely applicable on the situations where relations between groups are strained and overtly hostile. The main steps in this set of activities are identifying the issue. Firstly, the leaders of the two groups which have conflicts meet with the consultant and they are asked to think about getting the relations among the two groups better. They are also asked to think about the manners, mechanism, and procedures that may improve intergroup relations. Their agreement on the willingness to search for the mechanism is all that they are asked to commit themselves at the time. If the two groups under conflict agree with some prior planning as to time and place, the different activities may take place among them. Convene the group. Then the intergroup intervention begins on getting the two groups agreed on the fact that they want to solve the conflict. The two groups meet in separate rooms and build two lists. In one list, they give their thoughts, attitude, feelings, and perceptions of other groups. That is, what the other group is like, what it does that gets their way, and so on. In the second list, the group attempts to predict the other group's dislikes and also how the other group sees them and so on. These two lists having positive and negative forms are prepared by both the groups. Provide group training. Then the information on the list prepared is shared by both the groups. Group A reads its list how it sees Group B and what it dislikes about Group B. Similarly, Group B reads its list of how it sees Group A and what it dislikes about it. The consultant imposes a rule of no distinction of the items on the first list and limits the questions to clarify the meaning of the lists only. Next, the Group A reads its list of what is expected, what Group B will say about it, and Group B reads its list of what it thinks about Group A and what Group A thinks about it. Then it is addressing the issue. The two groups returns the separate meetings places and are given two tasks. First, they react and discuss what they have learned about themselves and the other group. It generally happens that many areas of disagreement and frictions are discovered to rest on misconceptions and miscommunication. These issues are readily resolved through the information shared on the list. The differences between the two groups are not seen to be great as it was magnified, and the problems between them are seen to be fewer than imagined. After this discussion, the group is given a second task to make a list on priority issues that still need to be resolved between the two groups. The list is generally smaller than the original list. Each group makes such a list. Then dissolve the group. Then both the groups comes together and they also share their lists with each other. Then after the comparison of the lists, one list is prepared which contains the issues and problems which can be resolved. They also set priorities on those items which are more important. Then it is follow-up actions. Then a follow-up is done by the intergroups team building activity. A meeting of the two groups and their leaders is arranged so as to determine which actions have occurred and to assess how the groups are performing their action plans. Third-party peacemaking interventions. Third-party interventions mainly focus on the conflicts arising between two or more people in the same peoples or the same group within the same organization. Third-party interventions vary considerably depending upon the kind of issues and underlying conflict. Conflict can arise over the substantive issues like work methods, pay rates, and conditions of employment, etc. The conflict can also arise from interpersonal issues like personality and misconceptions. When applied to substantive issues, conflict resolution interventions often involve resolving labor management disputes through arbitration and mediation. Like when union and management representatives cannot resolve a joint problem, they can call the federal mediation and conciliation services to help them to resolve the conflict. When the conflict involves interpersonal issues, however, organizational development has developed the approaches which help to control and resolve it. The third-party pacemaking interventions help the parties to interact with each other directly, facilitating the diagnosis of the conflict and its resolution. The ability to facilitate conflict resolution is a basic skill in the organization development, and it applies to all of the process interventions. Walton's approach to third-party peacemaking. Third-party interventions into conflict resolutions have the potential to control and to resolve the conflict. R.E. Walton has presented the statement of theory and practice for third-party peacemaking interventions, which are important in both on the rights and roles of the organization development. The main feature of the third-party peacemaking intervention is confrontation. The two parties must be willing to confront the fact that there is existence of the conflict, and moreover it also has the consequences for the effectiveness of the two parties involved. The third party must know how, when, and where to utilize the confrontation tactics which expose the conflict for examination. The third party diagnoses the conflict situation. Walton has presented a model of interpersonal conflict based on four elements, namely conflict issues, precipitating circumstances, conflict relevance, fact, and consequences of the conflict. For appropriate and accurate diagnosis, there is need for important source of conflict. Walton has provided the following ingredients of the productive confrontation. It includes mutual positive motivation, balance in the situational power of two principles, synchronizing of their confrontation efforts, appropriate pacing of the differentiation and integration phase of dialogue, conditions favoring openness in dialogue, reliable communicative signs, optimum tension in the situation. The third party will intervene directly and indirectly in facilitating the dialogue between the principals. Strategies for handling different conflicts. The strategies for handling different conflicts, as suggested by M.G. Newport, are parties may avoid conflict by reducing the frequency of meetings and discussion on such issues on which they have conflicting news. This provides a period for them to cool down their tempers. The second strategy involves the use of constraints and regulations by both the parties. In the meeting, they may be advised to exercise restraints on their expression of views. The third strategy related to the coping mechanism by either managing sympathy from the co-workers or by creating alternative way of living and performing work in the organization in order to escape from the conflict. The fourth strategy relates to the resolution of conflict. It requires a detailed analysis of the underlying factors at work and the feelings of the persons involved. Consequently, the resolution of the conflict requires open confrontation with another in the presence of the consultant. The consultant will play an effective role in bringing the conflicting parties to the conference table. He will channelize their discussions towards fruitful conclusions. Intergroup building. One of the most important dimensions of the organizational development is the phenomena of the intergroup relations. The powerful influence of the group life on the organizational effectiveness is no longer a matter of doubt. Organizations are made up of both types of groups, like formal and informal groups. And these groups have a powerful impact on the individuals and also on the organizational system. Membership in the group creates a strong bond among the individual members and deep loyalties among the group itself. Groups develop their own operating procedures and their own standards of behavior and also their own attitudinal norms. All of these phenomena contribute to the commonality of the group and enhance the commitment of its members. When two or more groups develop distinctly different subculture, high cohesiveness among their members, and are independent in achieving their goals, the relationship between or among these groups become an important element in goal achievement. It is due to this that interdependent nature of the relationship magnifies and intensifies their conflicts that could arise between them. Intergroup relations are among the most significant and the most complex factors in organizational life. When the relationships in the organizations are pleasant, then the goals of the organizations are likely to be achieved and also individual goals can be achieved. However, when the groups are in conflict, they tend to expend much of their time, energy, and resources in coping with the conflict, dealing with its consequences, and in maintaining minimal contact. The method of conflict resolution differ according to different types of conflicts. Substantive conflict problem solving is more task oriented, which concentrate on creative ways of defining roles, on restructuring the organizations, and so on. Some of the ingredient activities are cross-group problem solving. Representatives from each group are selected to formulate alternative solutions to the problems in the relationships. Then the exchange of group members. Individuals from each groups may spend a portion of their time with the other group in order to understand better its functions, methods, and cultures. Use of outside consultant to work with key people. The relationship between groups is a product of the relationship between groups is a product of the relationship between key personnel in each group. If these individual relationships are improved, group relationship may also be improved. Then it comes intergroup building. Intergroup building is at best a difficult process which sometimes require several repetition of the differentiation integration process. The degree of effective change in the relationship depends upon the extent to which the differentiation and integration have been achieved. For example, people have different professional needs and concerns as they progress through their career and life stages. They want to have a proper work-life balance between their personal and professional lives. That is, home, family, community responsibilities, etc. Technological changes have altered organizational structure and systems dramatically, and global competition has forced organizations to redefine how work gets done. These processes and concern have forced individuals and organizations to redefine the social contract that bind together. Let us summarize what we have learned in this module. We have learned that when tension, conflict, or competition exist among the groups, then some predictable things can happen. Each group may see the other as an enemy rather than a neutral object. Each group describes the others as negative stereotypes. The interaction and communication among the two groups may decrease, which cut off the feedback and the data input among them. Each group begins to price itself and its products more positively and to degrade the other groups and its products. Each group believes and acts as they can do nothing wrong and the other group can do nothing right. Under these circumstances, the groups may commit acts of various kinds against the other groups. This may lead to conflict among the two groups. Most people are aware of the patterns of the behavior of the groups in conflict, but very few people know the way to eliminate and to get over that conflict and to avoid its consequences. There are various strategies available for the reduction of intergroup conflicts. It includes a common enemy. Common enemy means involvement of an outside object or group that both groups dislike, and this may lead to bringing of both the groups together. It also includes the increasing of the interaction and communication among the groups. The increased interaction and communication among the groups will lead to positive sentiments and positive feelings. The strategy of finding a superordinate goal is also a significant strategy to remove conflict. The superordinate goals are one that both groups desire to achieve, but neither can achieve without the help of other group. Rotation of the members of the groups and providing them some form of training are also a form of strategy used for the reduction of intergroup conflicts among the groups. Even by using the above mentioned strategies, the intergroup conflicts may not be solved. Even the dynamics of conflicts and its resolutions between two persons in organizations are similar to between group conflicts. The interventions of the conflict resolutions are important and they have serious impact on intergroup and interpersonal conflicts and also on human satisfaction. The third party interventions mainly focus on the conflicts arising between two or more people in the same people within the same organization. Conflict is inherent in groups and organizations and can arise from a variety of sources comprising of the differences in personality, task-oriented, goal interdependence, and perceptions among group members as well as competitions for scarce resources. Third-party interventions vary considerably depending upon the kind of issues and underlying conflict. Conflict can arise over the substantive issues like work method, pay rates, and conditions of employment, etc. The conflict can also arise from interpersonal issues like personality and misconception. When applied to the substantive issues, conflict resolution interventions often involve resolving labor management disputes through arbitration and mediation. One of the most important dimensions of the organizational development is the phenomena of the intergroup relations. The powerful influence of the group life on the organizational effectiveness is no longer a matter of doubt. Organizations are made up of both types of group, formal as well as informal, and these groups have a powerful impact on the individual and also on the organizational system. Membership in the group creates a strong bond among the individual members and deep loyalties among the group itself. Groups develop their own operating procedures and their own standards of behavior and also their own attitudinal norms. All of these phenomena contribute to the commonality of the group and enhance the commitment of its members. Thank you.